Turning to the new report now from the Pentagon about unidentified flying objects. There were hundreds of new reported sightings over the last year, and some the government still can't explain.
Have you ever just blacked out before? Or have you found yourself at a place and can't remember how you got there?
This particular object was not following any of our rules. Like, what the is that?
You went to the doctors to check yourself, but they tell you everything is fine.
And we have breaking news now. A Pentagon review of decades of government investigations into UFO sightings has found no evidence any of those sightings were extraterrestrial.
However, you can't shake the feeling that someone or something did something to you.
How do I describe this to someone who's going to be, skeptical and there was kind of that stigma of like, all right, you saw an alien. I'm like, I didn't say I saw an alien. All I can tell you is I couldn't describe it.
What if you were right? What if something did something to you? What if it was an alien?
Well, whether you believe in UFOs or not, it seems a lot of people are seeing them.
Yeah, it depends, what you classify as a UFO, right?
You probably think aliens don't exist. You think they are a myth and just urban fiction. Well, are you so sure of that?
UFOs are back in the headlines talking about the mystery which has baffled Americans for a long time.
There have been sightings of UFOs and aliens all around the world. Some experts have claimed to have found pieces of alien technology.
Obviously encountering something that they can't explain, and we need to figure out what we collectively are going to do about it.
With all of these, one thing is clear. We aren't alone in this world. If you don't believe me, just ask the people of New York. New York. About 800 sightings have been made in the United States between 2021 and 2024. The Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARO for short, has successfully investigated some and are still investigating around 444 cases. Among those 444 cases is that recent case that happened off the coast of New York in November 2024. On that day, people boarded a plane and began their journey. They must have thought it would be just a regular one. Those who had meetings would have been going over their notes, and those who wanted to meet their loved ones would have been excited just to land. As they were flying, something came close to them. That was not normal. Nothing was supposed to fly close to them. Air traffic control would have instructed on planes not to fly close by. The crew and passengers became worried. None of them could have predicted that this could very well be the last flight of their lives. They tried to identify the object flying close to them. It wasn't a plane. It was something else entirely, something that didn't look from New York or anywhere in the world for that matter. Fortunately, that flight didn't end up in a disaster, and when the crew wanted to report to the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, it looked like they were seeing things. But they weren't. Those at the Pentagon knew they had seen something. According to the Pentagon, the object that nearly brushed the plane in the air was a cylindrical object. The Pentagon, while acknowledging the existence of UFO, then claims that this doesn't mean that there are aliens on Earth. But what the Pentagon failed to tell everyone was, this wasn't the first time that a cylindrical object would fly in New York airspace. LaGuardia Airport, NYC. On April 25, 2024, while flying above LaGuardia Airport in New York City, Michelle Reyes saw something strange. She was recording the view from the plane and saw a cylindrical flying object flying really fast. Reyes was shocked. This didn't look like anything she had seen before. She knew if she didn't have any kind of evidence, people would think she was crazy. She even doubted herself and thought maybe a bug was flying outside the plane. When she played the video back, she concluded it wasn't a bug. Bugs don't fly that fast. So, after the plane landed, Reyes emailed the FAA with her findings. Her first thought was to find out if the flying cylinder could cause danger to people. To her surprise, the FAA didn't acknowledge her email. They didn't contact her back. Still not wanting what she saw to be swept under the carpet, Reyes emailed the National UFO Database. So, if they knew this, why didn't the Pentagon investigate further? Could the flying cylinder be what almost collided with the plane off the coast of New York back in November? So many questions, so little answers, but this is something New Yorkers are used to. The Manhattan sighting. New Yorkers report hundreds of sightings in a year, with Manhattan reporting more than any other area of New York. People in Manhattan could just look out from the window and see a UFO, just like they did, and captured on camera in January 2018. This UFO that was sighted isn't a cylinder, like the ones I have talked about earlier in the video. This one looked like a triangle that is glowing green. Now, the Pentagon and their experts haven't been able to explain the physics and engineering of these flying objects. Then they also said they had discovered no evidence of extraterrestrial beings, activity, or technology. So, which is it? They can't explain these flying objects, but they also haven't found evidence that they are alien technology. Since they can't explain them, doesn't this suggest that these objects aren't from Earth? Or is the Pentagon being sneaky and trying to hide details of the UFO? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. The pilot sightings. Maybe the Pentagon is hiding things from the public. The bombshell revelation in July 2023 from former United States intelligence officer David Grush and others suggests this. Grush served for 14 years as an intelligence officer in the Air Force and National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and according to him, the Pentagon has been playing the United States Congress for fools. Grush revealed that he got information that the Pentagon has been recovering UFOs that crashed on Earth. According to him, it didn't stop at that. The Pentagon was also reverse engineering these UFOs. Could this be the reason for the United States' groundbreaking military aircraft tech? Then it gets even crazier, but let's save that bit for later. Bottom line is, the mysteries keep on growing, and Ryan Graves, a former Navy pilot, has added to it. Graves decided to back Grush up on his claims that the Pentagon knows more than they reveal about UFOs. What made Graves so sure of this? He himself also had an encounter. In 2014, Graves was an F-18 pilot stationed in Virginia Beach. What seemed like a routine day turned weird when his squadron first began detecting unknown flying objects on their radar. Graves described the objects as dark gray or black cubes inside of a clear sphere, where the apex or tips of the cubes were touching the inside of that sphere. Then Graves dropped another bombshell. He wasn't the only one that has had that encounter among pilots, but those that do end up being stigmatized when they pushed for details. Graves has been pushing for what they saw on their radar to be released to the public. While the Pentagon has refused to do so for Graves, they couldn't avoid a similar situation in 2004. That year, Commander Dave Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich had an encounter, and it almost became a scene from the Independence Day movie. These two men almost had a fight with aliens. According to the two men, they were having a training exercise, each with a weapons system officer in the back seat of their fighter jets. Those two were locked in, completely focused on their training when an order came in, and it was one of the strongest ones they received. They were expecting to see enemy jets or something along those lines, except what they saw didn't make any sense. What they didn't know was, while they were training, the advanced radar on a ship that was a part of their training group, the USS Princeton, had detected something or somethings. Operators on the radar called these things multiple anomalous aerial vehicles, which was rapidly defending. Jets rapidly descend too, but what kind of jet descends at 80,000 feet in less than a second? This was bizarre, and when Fravor and Dietrich got to the area that USS Princeton directed them to, what they saw completely stunned them. They saw an area in the sea that was bubbling and an object moving above it. The movement of the object seemed random, and Fravor decided he wanted to investigate further, and he got close, really close. The flying object he saw was the size of his F-18 jet, but he didn't see any propulsion system. Maybe the object spotted him, maybe it didn't, but it zoomed off at an unbelievable speed. Maybe the radar was faulty. Maybe Fravor and his buddy Dietrich were seeing things. That could have easily explained what happened, but the same UFO was spotted by another crew entirely. Fravor and Dietrich expected a big investigation. If there were, they didn't know anything about it. Now Grush has claimed there were investigations, and he dropped another massive bombshell. Grush claimed the Pentagon has seen aliens in those crafts. Could he be telling the truth? Is the Pentagon hiding stuff from us? If they are, how much are they hiding? Are there aliens among us? What would they even look like? Smoke rings in sky, Lahore in India, Ohio in USA, and Birkinshaw in UK. Would they be like you and I with limbs? Would be like shapes? Or would they have another form entirely? Like this. Yes, black smoke rings, and these smoke rings have been seen in different places. On January 2021 was spotted in Lahore, India. Another one was seen in Ohio after the man who recorded it heard an explosion. There was another one spotted in Birkinshaw, United Kingdom. However, these aren't the only places that these rings have been seen. I am just limiting it to those three, partly because the sightings are fairly long, and partly because scientists have explained the possible causes of those smokes. Scientists say they are caused by fireworks or blasts through a circular structure. Do you think this is what happened? Are the scientists correct? The huge aliens sighted in Zambia. Since they could explain the rings, maybe the scientists should also explain what happened in Zambia on March 2017. According to reports, a floating humanoid figure flew over a shopping mall, sending shoppers running in different directions in panic. The floating figure just enjoyed making people panic because reports claim that it remained in the sky for about 30 minutes before eventually disappearing. Many people have come to debunk the image as being photoshopped, but there was another image taken from a different location with the floating man thing swimming in the sky for fun. Do you think this is Photoshop, or is it real? Let me know what you think. Portal seen in 2013. I wonder what kind of aircraft will carry this giant floating man thing, or could it be that it slipped through a portal into Earth? A portal a YouTuber claimed to have seen in 2013 would easily allow a creature such as this to easily pass through. Just look at the size of this thing. Could it also be faked? Or are there really giant aliens roaming the Earth? Maybe these giant aliens are the cause of the giant footprints found in rocks in South Africa in 2012. The Giants. Michael Tellinger, who claimed to be an archaeologist, revealed giant human-shaped footprints in granite near the town of Umpaluzi, close to the Swaziland border that he claimed were about 200 million years old. Tellinger claimed that he wasn't the first person to discover the footprints. He revealed that they were first found in 1912 by Stoffel Kutze, a hunter while he was hunting. Tellinger said the environment around the footprint still remained mostly the same, and so the footprint couldn't have been carved. Not many people believe him, though. Some scientists have debunked his find and have said what he found wasn't a footprint, but a natural erosion pattern. They have even accused Tellinger of not being an archaeologist, but a conspiracy theorist. Do you think they are right? Well, let's say that one was an erosion. What about the one discovered by a group of photographers in Pingyan village in Guizhou in August 2016? The footprint has been dated to prehistoric times. So were these footprints made by giant humans, or were they made by large humanoid aliens? What do you think? If they are aliens, then they also went to Bolivia and walked on rocks in the Mendez municipality. According to a native of that province, the footprints could provide an explanation for the links that giants have with humanity. But maybe the explanation is that giants are actually aliens. Think about it. What will the Pentagon say about these giants? Kuwait City. Pentagon reveals secret. The Pentagon most likely wouldn't reveal what they know. It took them a very long while to talk about what they know about the UFO sighting in Kuwait. On November 16, 2024, during a hearing by the U.S. House Oversight Committee, a revelation dropped. It turned out that the Pentagon had a 13-minute high-definition video of a UFO. The video, which was shot from a helicopter, was in the custody of the U.S. Department of Defense's Secure Internet Protocol Router Network until 2024 before it was released. It wasn't the Pentagon that released the video, but Michael Schellenberger, a journalist who got the video from a secret source. In the video, there was a white spherical flying object which was joined by another similar flying sphere. This wouldn't be the first time that Kuwait would come up in discussions surrounding UFOs. In 1970, people saw a large cylindrical object, larger than an airplane, over the al-Aish area. 8 years later, another UFO was seen landing near the media complex in the capital, temporarily disrupting television broadcasts. Then in 1986, radar systems detected another unusual flying object around 15 kilometers from the border. Kuwait is like New York when it comes to spotting UFOs. For New York, UFO experts say that UFO sightings are more present in the Big Apple because it is one of the world's biggest cultural melting pot. New York has activities on activities, and it makes sense that UFOs would want to observe it. For Kuwait, the reason for UFO sightings has been said to be because it is in a region where military conflict takes place. So, are aliens drawn to conflict, or are they trying to assess humanity's military capabilities? Honestly, I'm not sure I want us to find out either way, although I do want us to find out this weird clouds in the sky. Do you see how that cloud separated from the others? It looks suspicious, and if you have watched different sci-fi movies, you'll agree with me that it looks like maybe there is something beneath those clouds. Could it be an alien ship using a cloaking device? I know, I may be getting ahead of myself, but think about the possibilities, and while you are doing that, let me show you other times clouds were behaving weirdly on camera. On November 26, 2024, another incident was recorded in Zibo, Shandong, China, but this time the cloud looked perfectly rectangular in shape. It was properly defined, too defined, and it appeared like that before it fell apart. When I talked about the smoke rings, I mentioned that scientists explained fireworks or explosions from a tube-like device could cause them, but this one defies explanation, at least so far. Even the experts couldn't explain it. The Zibo Meteorological Bureau stated that they had never seen that type of cloud before. There were no planes or jets passing by, and it looked like the clouds formed on their own and dispersed on their own. Strange, isn't it? It gets even stranger. One guy made a recording of square clouds in the sky, and unlike the others I have shown you in this video, this one takes the crown on the bazaar. It completely covered a large section of the street. It almost looked like a celestial shield. From what you've seen since the start of this video, you'll see that there is more to Earth than we know. There are so many sightings, and not all of them can be logically explained. Just like that strange being that flew, wriggled in the wind, and climbed a roof during the 2011 Japanese tsunami. Aliens in Japan? As the tsunami raged on, a witness was filming the extent of the destruction when they witnessed something inexplicable. They saw a being wriggling in the wind. At first it looked like a torn plastic bag, but a plastic bag can't suddenly develop legs and strong upper body strength to climb the roof. That is one of the strongest things I have seen, and there's more where that came from. Do you think that's an alien? Have you had special encounters you would like to share? Let me know in the comments.